And I'm very proud of the facts that those are kind of like the three main societies of the Kiowas, and that I'm a part of. And I love being a part of it because I know I do the best I can to uphold my traditions and my culture as a Kiowa. Because I guess about the only thing I can say is God Almighty, He made me who I am. He made me a Kiowa. He didn't make me nothing else. He didn't make me nothing else. He made me a Kiowa. So that's why my traditions as Kiowas, I love them. I love being around them. I love being a part of them. And I just try to encourage the younger generations to always remember who they are and the people that they represent wherever they go.
Is Longhorn Mountain considered the most sacred site to the Kiowa people?
Yeah, I would say it would be, because of what grows there and how it is used. And I mean, generations and generations and generations know about it. And there's other sites here that we consider sacred. We could go over there and we could do the same thing, but it's just that we can't get the cedar there like we do at Longhorn. So that, and basically to the Kiowas, because of the cedar growing there, and we've been guided to it, and we use it, some people will just stay right there and under their prayers, you know. And so that's why, like a lot of people that live out of state, that live away from home, they usually come home maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a year, different times. But when they come here at home, they get here, they make it a point to go there. Maybe some may collect, maybe some don't, but they're there and they're just praying.
Is Longhorn Mountain the most sacred site in all of Oklahoma to the Kiowa?
I think it's an important site because it's one piece of a whole, and if you take that away, then you're taking a significant part of Kiowa culture away. Because if you look at Longhorn Mountain, you know, it's surrounded by, you know, there's Rainy Mountain on one side, Cutthroat Gap. I mean, it's a landscape of important places for the Kiowa people. And, you know, by destroying it, you're really destroying Kiowa culture.
What do you think would be lost if the mountain were to be mined and destroyed?
Well, to the Kiowas, to me and the Kiowas, it would be devastating. I mean, because of all the prayers that were said on it and around it by our elders, our forefathers, our elders, and even by us and by generations to come. I mean, it just wouldn't seem like it just wouldn't mean a hill of beans to anybody else. And to me, it would be just like tearing down a temple, you know.
So, why is Longhorn Mountain so sacred to the Kiowa people?
Because God is the one that guided us to that area, or guided us to it, and our old people used to go up there and they'd fast, they'd make vows, they would pray, and they would collect the cedar that was from there to use in our different ceremonials, traditional things that we do as Kiowas, as well as pray.
So what is the significance of Longhorn Mountain to all of Kiowa culture and spirituality?
Well, I think that, you know, it's one of the places that we always go to, that we continue to go to. You know, generations of Kiowas have gone to. Like, my brother goes to get cedar at Longhorn Mountain because my father goes to get cedar at Longhorn Mountain. And he went to get cedar at Longhorn Mountain because his father did, and my grandpa did because, his father and uncles did. So, I mean, it's that continuity that, it's a place that you go to, that you feel like you belong and that you have a connection to, because you feel that spirituality there, that that when you go there, you're going to feel good, and it's like a blessing when you go there, and you're going there for the right reasons.
Because of the prayer. Because of the prayer, because of the cedar that comes from there, that's used in prayer, and kind of more or less like it gives you a spiritual uplift, the fragrance of the cedar, and where it comes from, and what it's used for, and it's just, it's just so uplifting. Like, we have people, they lose loved ones, we have people that are sick, we have people that are lost, we have people that are having a hard time with different problems, and once they ask somebody to come over and like say a prayer for them, or they'll go up there and they'll say a prayer for themselves, and then they use the cedar, it's just so uplifting. It's something that really can't actually be described. There's a Native American Church, Kiowa religion. They use it. We have we have bundle keepers. They use it. We have a Gourd Dance Society. They use it. We have a Black Leggings Warrior Society. They use it. We have a War Dance Society, Ohoma Lodge. They use it. We've got a War Mothers Association. They use it. We've got a Victory Club Association. They use it. We've got a Purple Heart Descendants Organization. They use it. We've got a Kiowa Warrior Descendants Organization. They use it. We've got an Oklahoma Taipei Society. They use it. We've got a Taipei Society. They use it. We've got different individuals that give names. We've got different churches we have individuals that are called upon to use it. We've got people that are mourning. We've got people that lose different ones. We've got people that are sick. We've got people that are lost. We've got people that are seeking. There's just about, you name whatever the occasion may be, or what the problem may be, those are the people that use it. So it's pretty well widespread. Even to the fact to where other tribes, they want it. But if everybody's like me and I'm stingy, because that's Kiowa, that belongs to me.
So because it's used in about every organization, every society.
Every organization,
if that were to be
society.
lost, that would just, would you say that would just destroy, I wouldn't say destroy the culture, but destroy the backbone of the culture? Or?
Well, it wouldn't destroy it wouldn't destroy the culture.
Yeah.
It wouldn't destroy the culture, okay? But it would take away. It wouldn't destroy, it would take away. Because people won't be able, they're not going to feel as comfortable. I guess more or less, if worst comes to worst, they can find whatever they have to find to substitute. But then again, spiritually and mentally, there's not going to be no satisfaction or anything, because they know what has to take place. So in other words, all you're going to be doing is just going through the motions.
We hear stories about medicine men who've gone to that mountain and they left their medicine to that mountain for other Kiowas. So you have to be careful with what you're messing with.
Maybe they didn't have somebody to pass their medicine on down to help people. So they would go back to where they got it. Or maybe there would be in some area, they take it over there and they say, okay, now I've got this medicine that the Creator gave me. And I have no one to leave it to. So I'm gonna bring it here. And they'd be talking to this mountain or whatever, wherever they're at that time. So I'm gonna bring it here and I'm gonna leave it, but I'm gonna leave it with you. Maybe somewhere down the line, maybe one of my fellow tribesmen or somebody, or maybe their children or their children's children may come here. They may be seeking something. And you are gonna be able to help them because you're gonna know if they're sincere in what they want. So I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna leave it here with you. And so that's what they would do, and then they would cease doing what they were doing. And so it's kind of more or less this mountain or this hill or wherever this area, sacred site is, it had the power to do that. So as years came on, well, here come the others, we said, well, we heard that if we would go over here and we offer a prayer or whatever, well, things would kind of work out. And so they'd go over there and these people, they'd offer their prayers or whatever like that, and they'd get their help, then they'd be all right. And so these are some of the sites that we still have to this day, and we've been utilizing these things for years and years and years. I mean, generations before me, way before me, even up to now. And then now there's gonna be generations after me. There's gonna be generations after me. So what we try to do is we try to pass this on to them so that they would know. I mean, there's psychiatrists now, there's doctors for different things and all this. And there may be some stuff that they may be able to help them with, but then again, there may be some that they may not be able to. And they'll be able to go to wherever they'll want that spiritual healing, they want that physical healing, and they want that mental healing. And so they'll go over there and they'll be able to feel these things because they knew at one time that the people before them were there and that they talked to them. They said, I don't know who they are, but they're going to come one of these days. Just listen to them. Listen to them, and whatever it may be, however you want to address it or take care of them, well, do that for them. And then even when they come to this day, well, they're going to be thinking about the generations that are going to be coming after them, and then they're going to do the same thing. So it's just going to kind of like evolve, just keep going, and keep going until the end of time. Now we come to that point to one of our sacred sites among the Kiowas that's been with us ever since the time we got down here in this area, and we had a treaty in 1867. It was called the Treaty of Medicine Lodge. At that time, that's when they put the Kiowa, Comanche, Apache, Cheyenne, Arapaho. That was when they put us on reservations. The Cheyenne, Arapaho to the north, the Kiowa, Comanches, and Apaches to the south. They marked off land, so okay, this is your reservation. This is where you gotta stay. And people were used to going here and there and this and that, but now we had to stay, we were secluded in one area. Okay, so even at that time, we were against it, but we did. I guess more or less we obeyed. Gave up our arms and everything, and we started doing that. Well, after that treaty, my understanding is 2 years after that, in 1869, there was an idea of let's civilize the Kiowas, the Comanches and the Apaches, Cheyenne Rappers. Let's civilize them. They came up with what they had. It was called a Jerome Agreement. And then from that Jerome Agreement, it turned into the Dawes Act. And what was supposed to happen with that was this, everybody in the family was supposed to have gotten 160 acres of land, which they did. And we as nomadic people, we didn't know anything about putting up fences and say, well, this is my land, this is your land. We didn't know anything. They told us about that. Some they practiced it, some they didn't. And they wanted some to be farmers, they wanted some to be ranchers. And like I said, we were nomadic people, we were hunters. We hunted for game. We didn't know anything about raising any kind of crops or anything like that. And so there was some that adapted, and there were some that didn't. So what they ended up doing was through all the cattle drives from Texas to Kansas, well, they turned around and they leased their land. They leased it for farming and grazing rights, so that they were able to move these cattle across where they were raising cattle, they could feed them right there, whatever. Anyway, that's what we had. And so as time went on, years went on, well, different things started coming. Then the Great Depression came. The Depression came. And we never knew what the value of money was. We didn't know what money was. All we knew is that the coins were shiny, and we made jewelry out of those, pound them, make jewelry. We didn't know what a dollar was. We didn't have the slightest idea. But when the missionary came and the white man came, and then we were able to learn from them, then we knew the value of money. Then we started learning the value of money. We learned what it could do. We learned what it could do. And so with that, well, as time went on, well, I said during the Depression era, well, even our people in this area, they were having a hard time. So financially, they didn't, they was trying to figure, well, we know if we had money, we could get this and we could get this, and it would be all right. Now let's say all their money depleted and everything, so maybe they might have went someplace to try to get a loan from somebody or something, and because of the Depression, they weren't able to loan money or whatever. But they did say, you got land? You got land? Yeah, I got land. What can I do with it? Sell it to me. Sell it to me. But what does that mean? That I give you money for your land, and then it's mine. I buy it from you. So he sells it, and once he does that, and he either thumbprints it or signs it over, that's it. It's out of his hands. Don't belong to him no more. It belongs to this individual over here. So that's what happened to one of our sacred sites down here south of us, southwest of us. We're in Carnegie, Oklahoma right now. The next community over is Mountain View. You go straight south of Mountain View, and that's where this sacred site is located. It's called Longhorn Mountain. Apparently, back in those days, there was a man that was his name, Longhorn, and he was down in that area, and maybe that was his allotment, or maybe he had some kind of association with that mountain there or something. But anyway, the old people, they named that mountain Longhorn Mountain. And so by those individuals, after that, by them selling that property, well then it was out of our hands. That was on the western part. So on the east part of Longhorn Mountain, there's that particular parcel of land there was also sold. So now that's how Longhorn Mountain becomes private property now. Okay, the guys on the east side and toward the central part is where we go and we collect our cedar. Why that particular cedar? The only answer I have for that is God Almighty is the one that gave it to us. God Almighty is the one that guided us to Longhorn Mountain. And He made all that stuff available to us as Kiowas to use in our prayer, in our ceremonies, the different traditions that we have as Kiowas. And the understanding with the landowners there, with the older people, years back, was verbal. That even though they sold them the property, they still had access to it. And so, based on that is why we're still able to go and collect what we need and use it the way that we use it. Even though some people, they'll go up there and they'll pray. They'll leave prayer offerings of tobacco, or maybe ribbons or something up there. They'll leave some kind of article, because that's what they went to go pray. And those individuals, they still allow us access to that, to do that. And so that's why I say that we're thankful to them, and that for them having that understanding with those older people back then all the way up to now. And that's why we're still able to go pray. So it's kind of more or less a sacred, it's a sacred site, but it's a sacred shrine to us Kiowas. And it's being threatened now. There's owners there to the west that wants to, well, they're leasing it to this one individual, this one company, and they're going to come in and they're going to start mining for gravel on the west side. And by them doing that, we kind of more or less figure it's going to disrupt the central part and the eastern part. And we've been asked the question, why that cedar? Why do y'all have to get it there? There's other mountains around here, other hills around here. Why don't y'all go over there and get that? Well, for some apparent reason, it has a fragrance of its own. It has a scent of its own. Me, I've traveled all throughout the United States to the four corners of this country of ours. I've even been to some provinces of Canada. And I've witnessed different ceremonies. And they use evergreen cedar too, but it doesn't have the scent that Longhorn does. Longhorn, they've even dug some sprigs up, they've dug some up to like transplant, but it just wouldn't grow. Why? I don't know. There's even some people that got a little of this cedar and they took it, and what you do is you make a bed of coals, and then you sprinkle this cedar when it's dry over those coals, and it makes a smoke. And what we do is we use it for kind of like a blessing. God bless you. And then it goes up in the air and it travels to the four corners of the world, four corners of the area. So everybody gets a blessing off of this. And it's being threatened now. And that's why, even though we as a tribe, we as Kiowas, at one time, we owned the property, or some of our tribal members owned the property, and they sold for whatever reasons, and now it's private property. I can understand that a person does whatever he wants to do with this property, but still yet we're trying to at least put a halt to it, to where that hopefully he would have respect for us as a people and not let anything like that happen, and leave everything intact. That's what we're hoping, and that's what we're praying for. And with God's help, it's going to all come about. But somewhere, God God's going to pity us, and He's going to give us that little opening. And then that way we could do what we need to do to preserve. So what we want to do is preserve. And naturally, well, we feel for the landowners, but still yet, that's been with us all these years, all this time, before my time, before their time. And it would change things dramatically. And my understanding too is that there are some petroglyph drawings in there or something. So if there is, well, there were Indians there, or somebody was there that put those there, and they could have been used some kind of ceremonial room, some ceremonial site or something. It was used for something, if there's something like that in there. And as being part of Oklahoma history, as well as Kiowa history, and Kiowa County history, to be destroyed, you know.
There is some stories surrounding Longhorn Mountain that there may be, you know, Kiowas may be buried around Longhorn, because we've heard that Lone Wolf may be buried around there, and that we know that there's caves in there, and we've heard that there's pictographs in those caves. And we've also heard that there's a certain spot that they used to hide, and that they would try to grab like eagles, you know, for their feathers.
Yeah.
So those are different things that we've heard about the mountain.
Now, part of that cave, entrance of that cave, to the side of it, there's a little area there to where Kiowas used to kneel down and they'd hide in that area, and they'd fix a covering to cover their head. And still to this day, there's eagles that migrate down in this area, and they fly around in that area. Okay, when they would fly down thinking that, well, maybe they had some kind of piece of meat or some kind of something that would attract those eagles. They'd lay them on top, and there'd be a little opening to where they could see that eagle when it would come down, when it would fly down to pick this food up. Well, sometime it would come, and maybe it would just land there and just start eating it. Of course, it'd be there. Well, not knowing that these guys are underneath there, well, those guys could just reach up and grab them by the legs and probably pull them in, and then they would hang on to them. But them guys, all they would do is just get what they needed. Like maybe it might be a couple tail feathers, or maybe a tail feather, whatever, and then turn around and release them. You know.
Would you like to relate any sort of miraculous healings that you've heard about from using the cedar?
Yeah. Me, myself, I'm a living testimony. Okay, what happened to me last December, around last November? I had a slight stroke. My wife is ill. She's not well. We just got something that we got to deal with. That's, you know, there's gonna come a day and time, and I guess more or less, good Lord's gonna call her home. We know that, and we have to deal with it. And she's had this disease for a little over a year. So I've been taking care of her, watching out for her, more or less kind of being her nursemaid. Okay, then come last November, about mid-November, I had a slight stroke on my left side. And I ended up in the hospital. and the observation. They were taking care of it and everything, and then trying to figure out what brought it on. Well, they just came out to me. They said, "Mr. DuPont, you had a stroke." And I said, No. I said, "No, you didn't. And this is what you're going to have to do." And they told me what all I had to do, and this and that. And I'm thinking, this ain't the time for it. This can't happen. I said, my wife is sick. She's barely getting around. I'm the one here to take care of her. I can't be this way. So I was asked to conduct a prayer service last Christmas at one of my brother's house. So we went over there, and I got out there, and I tried to help them put the teepee up, get the grounds ready, make preparations for that. But there was nothing I could. The only use I had there was my right side. So the only thing I could do was just sit there and watch while they were doing things. And I wanted to be a part of that, because I used to do that all the time, but I couldn't. So anyway, we got things ready, went in there, we had some dinner, and we said our goodbyes, and said, "Well, I'll see y'all Christmas Eve." So I felt bad. Felt bad going back home. I had to, when I drive, I just had to go slow. Then when I get there, I have to try to help my wife get off the car, get in the house, and she's just trying to be strong herself to do whatever she can do, but she had limitations, So anyway, I said, well, let's get ready. We got to go over there. We got to be over there. So we got ready. We went over there. Okay, we went in the teepee at dusk. Oh, it's about like 3 o'clock that morning. 3 o'clock that morning. I got 4 peyote buttons. And we got an altar there. There's a main peyote button. I put 4 of them lined them up right there. I had an older brother that was in there, and I had my other brother. He was younger than me. I said, "Bobby," I said, "Brother," I said, "I'm here trying to do what I can for what my dad asked me over there, the best way that I know how." I said, "But I'm not up to par." I said, "Y'all know that." So here I am. I said, I put this medicine down here. I said, I'm going to ask God for help. I said, I'm going to get this medicine, I'm going to fix it, and then I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put some cedar on there, and I'm going to vet myself. I said, I got to help myself. I said, I guess maybe I could depend on y'all or whatever, but no, this one I have to take care of myself. So I did that. So I said my prayer, I fixed my medicine, I stood up, I said, God, that's what I want. I come here for something. I said, I'm begging you. Maybe you're not going to get me exactly the way that I'm accustomed to or what I'm used to, but get me as close as you can. Please. I said, I've got this medicine that you created, you put here on this Mother Earth for us to use. I said, I'm going to use it. And I said, and this evergreen here. I said, it come from Longhorn Mountain, your creation. I said, I got it right here. I said, I'm going to take this medicine, I'm going to put this on this far. I said, it's going to come up. I said, I'm going to use it on myself. I'm going to bless myself with it. And I said, not only that, it's going to go out this teepee. It's going to 4 directions. Maybe somebody else out there is in the same situation that I am. I said, today's the birth of your son, Jesus Christ. Today is his day. He was born this day. So I want to share that with them. So I want you to pity me for who I am. I said, I'm standing here. I said, I'm crying like a baby. I said, because that's what I want. I said, my wife's sick. And I was begging him. So I stood up. I got that medicine. I took it, got a handful of that cedar, and I sprinkled it all on that fire. And the smoke just came up, and it was thick. I got my feathers, I went like that. 4 times, and I fed myself. God help me. Please help me. These are all your creations, everything that you gave us as Indian people. Now I'm utilizing it. I said, this bird that I have, this eagle that I'm using, I said, it's a live bird. I said, you know that your creation. I said, you're the one that brought this live bird to me. I didn't go get it or anything. It came to me. I said, I'm utilizing the feathers here. That bird's still flying around here somewhere, still alive. I said, that's what I want. So I did that. I got through. I sat down. I took a deep breath. Oh, yeah. It was like a team. It started on top of my head, come all the way down my arms, tips of my fingers back up, all the way down. And I'm a diabetic and I only got feelings in half of my feet here. I had feelings on the tip of my toes. And then when we got through, we did our ceremony that morning, what we had to do. When I went in there, I had a cane. I was using a cane. And it took me a good time to get up on all fours, and I had to work my way up on my cane, and I'd get up. I stood up. I stood up and I walked out of that teepee. Sun was up, I greeted the sun. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What else could I say? What else could I say? Thank you. That evening we got through with that prayer service. Okay. We went on home. We was going on home with a snowstorm that came in. We got home. Next day, Oklahoma weather cleared up. Next day I went back and I helped them guys take that TV down. I helped them guys pick the poles up. I helped them carry it to a rack and lay them up there. I rolled up rugs. I folded up quilts. I cut wood. I put wood up. That following week I had a prayer service at my home. And I got out there and helped my brother. We put that TV up there. That's why I said I can bear witness to what happened to me. Through God's creation, which was that cedar, as well as that medicine and the power of prayer. And today I'm working. I work here. Today I go out, I sing for my people. I take care of some of their ceremonies that they have. I do that. So I know what it is. There's other people, there's stories that I've heard where different places, they've carried sick people in, carried them in on blankets, carried them in and laid them down over there. Men come in, all they did was pray, put cedar on, fan those people off, did well. That's what comes from that place over there. That's why I say it means so much to me. And I'm thinking about the generations that are coming behind me. See, all I can do is relate these stories to them. That's all I can do. Until they witness it themselves or whatever, then they'll know the reality of it. But there's me, there's different people that were here once upon a time, some are still here. They bear witness to the same thing. Like we have people that are lost in this world. They have problems. They don't know how to deal with them. They don't know what to do. Some wander off, forget about home, forget about things, Their loved ones, they're worried about them. They come and they see us. We go a little far, we go out there, we talk, pray for them, put that cedar on, wherever that person may be, let him smell this, get a scent of the cedar, let him smell it. He may be in a city, metropolitan area, might be locked up, could be anywhere. They don't smell it. First thing they're going to think about home, and they're going to come back. And that has happened. That has happened. I said, we got boys and girls that are overseas in another country, fighting somebody that they don't even know who their enemy is. But those people, they want to kill them. You know. Well, let's fix it up with them. Maybe they're over there, they'll get a whiff of it. And they'll probably think it's strange, you know, here I am in another country. But why do I have that sin? And then later on, well, they send them back home. Okay, I'm going to say in the mid-70s, I'd say anywhere from 74 to 77, that's when they were getting together this Indian Freedom of Religion Act. They was getting it together. And there were some representatives from D.C. that came here to the Kiowa tribe, this very complex here, and they wanted to speak to some of the traditional people so that they could take them around to show them the sacred sites of the Kiowa. So a lot of the NAC members were called at that, well, the NAC officers were called at that time, as well as my uncle Harding Big Bow, a few other people. They came together. All right, so they took them out to the different areas. They took them to Longhorn Mountain, they took them to Saddle Mountain, they took them to Wichita Mountains. They took them out here to a place called Rainy Mountain, Gnat Mountain, Zoltone, just different areas where that they declared sacred at that time. So at that time, that's when they told them, so okay, now the Kiowa tribe, and they told the leaders of the Kiowa tribe, our business committee at that time, okay, here's all the sites and everything. What y'all need to do, y'all need to file a petition and get them nationally recognized. It's historical places. Sacred sites is actually what it was. Not only with the United States, but with the state of Oklahoma. So that was left in our leadership's hands at that time. Okay, so they went on back to D.C. and they started getting all their stuff together and everything because they was getting ready to put it all together. All right, now for what apparent reasons, how come if it was left to us as a tribe and our leadership at that time, why didn't they do it? What reasons? For whatever reasons, myself, I would like to know. Because like, even now, if we go and we try to register it, as well as the other places now, well, it's not going to look right. Even though it needs to be done, but we do it now, then they say, well, why are they doing it now? Here they are arguing and talking about it being a sacred site and all this and that, and why do they want to register it now? Well, okay, yeah, but still yet, they don't. It's not because we want to do it. Well, the reason why we want to do it now, because it's not done. That's why. But it should have been done. This guy, he's trying to take care of his family too and everything, but then again, you don't want to take that away from him, but still yet, something that's just been here years and years and years to be destroyed, and for what? For him to get what he needs. Then once it's all gone, and then what's going to happen to it? Then what once was ain't no more. How you want to look at it or whatever. Apparently he doesn't have respect for me by doing what he wants to do. Of course, it's for the money, I can understand that. But then again, why should I expect that? Why should I expect that? And why should I want him to do without?
I think that when companies come in, like a rock crushing company comes in, I realize that they have public notices in newspapers, but I do think that the tribes need to be better notified, because these places were Indian territory. These were in our reservation boundaries, and we should be notified to the full extent possible. That company, if they do move in, that they're in compliance with every single thing, because we're going to be watching. We're going to make sure that everything, they're following all their permits to a T, because we're going to monitor every single action that they take. Hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully they will realize that it's an important site and that the community is against it. Well, I think the main thing that I would like to bring up is that, that the Kiowa Tribe Museum, the Kiowa Tribe, we're here, and that we're working on this issue. I don't want people to think that we're not. Mr. Dupont and I are dedicated, and that we want people to know they can come in and ask us questions, and we'll be happy to work with them. If they want to help us, that's great. We can use all the help and support we can get. We are not going to stop fighting, because we know how important it is to the Kiowa people, and it's important to us. But we also want them to know that Longhorn Mountain is privately owned land. So we still have to respect that fact and the landowners. But there is one thing that we are encouraging people to do is to read the newspapers, especially in Kiowa County right now, because if there's any public notices and it's land located near Longhorn Mountain or any sacred sites that the Kiowa people know of, contact the tribe immediately, because we need to be involved and we need to know what's going on. Sometimes, we might just miss it, or we might not realize it's there. This is Caddo County. We don't get Kiowa County news, but please be aware of what's going on in the community and all public notices, and please inform us.
How do you feel about the possibility of them doing the mining up on Longhorn?
I feel like our ancestors have gone up and spiritually prayed on the mountain, and they always thanked the blessings for the mountain and what the earth has given them. And it's always been important to all of us Native American that the mountain has a lot of spiritual background, and that's what's really important to me and others.
My main concern is our quality of life we'd have here. It won't be what we're used to, I'm sure, because I can hear the noise from that crusher on over there. They put one halfway between there.
In
I'll
Unap
hear
Mountain?
it constantly, huh?
Unap Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear from all the way here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially when the wind's kind of out of the north, you can hear plain as day what's going on. And I feel the dynamiting and all that. That'd be worse. And then I've heard ranchers over there that join that mountain say after the lime dust builds up so much on their grass that the grass won't grow and the cows won't eat it. And to me, well, you can look around here, got windmills over there, rock crushers over there. This is one of the few all natural mountains we still got left. They claim they've got 100 years of rock left in that crusher over there. Then there's 2 more crushers over south of Carnegie. So I really don't see the need for one here. I think the mountain would serve people better than the rock would, except for the few that's going to profit from it. And I can see their point of view, but they don't live here either.
We had talked about that his parents had worked hard to build their farm and their home, and wanted to pass it on to the generations, to us, and then to our children and their children. But you know, what chance are they going to get later on to keep the land that was built up for them?
That's another thing. If they put a rock crusher up there, it's going to decrease the value of this land. Nobody'd want to move down here and put up with all that. Of course, I realize us living on the south side, we're not going to catch the dust and stuff near as bad as the ones on the north side, except when the wind's out of the north. But I don't know. I've got my own opinion, and my opinion is I'm against it. That's the way I stand.
Like you said, the owners, you know, don't live here, so, you know, they won't get the feel of what's going to happen if there is, you know, a crusher put on the mountain. It's the ones that live here in the area.
I think there's about 5 owners on the mountain, and all of them are local people, but they don't live right here where they'd be affected by none of the operations of the crusher. And they're all good people. We've been neighbors here for years and years. They got one opinion and we've got another.
We have ours.
They own the land, so
they own the land, they pay the taxes, so there's, you know, it's just the thought of the, you know, mountain being ruined.
And I might, if I lived 20 miles over there and just seen this mountain at a distance all my life, I might feel completely different. But this is like a part of me since I've been here so long. When I was younger, I run around all over that mountain. And I just hate to see it defaced. I've heard there's 2 or 3 individual graves up there, but as far as the burial grounds or something, I've never heard anything like that.
So
now,
individuals, would these be Kiowa from a long time ago?
Yeah, a long time. Old Indian people are buried up there. As far as where their graves are, I don't know nothing about that.
And there's also been a person that's been going up there and fasting.
More than one.
I think 2 summers ago he was here because I had ran into him about a half a mile from here. I thought he had broke down, so I stopped, and he said he was on his way up to the mountain to fast. And I've heard that there'd been people that been doing that, and I know there's a lot of people that, you know, do go up and pray. I know I stopped and talked to about 4 ladies, and one that he went to school with, they had just come off the mountain and said they had been up to pray, and they go up every so often and pray. And I've also heard that there's a little area that's built, I guess, where they go and do their praying. And I've also heard, years and years and years ago, different stories about medicine men going up and doing their prayers. And of course, though, the medicine men back then were a lot stronger than what we have now. We had one neighbor that was asking me about the spiritual part and I tried to explain to him, and he wanted to know if it was like a voodoo type deal, and I told him no, it's not a voodoo. I said it's just they go up, and do their prayer, and most of their prayers are good, and of course, like I said, they pray for the earth, pray for the mountain that it's giving good things back. But if you don't treat them with respect, then I don't think I'd want to go there. But no, like I told them, it's not voodoo. It's just the strong spirit through the Native American people that they believe.
In your view, is it mainly ancestral spirits?
Ancestral spirits.
Yeah.
And they pray, to keep this mountain for their ancestors. The ladies that I had talked to, I had asked them how far up they had gone to the mountain, and they said that they had gone to the top of the mountain. It was, a chore to get up there, but that's where they had gone. So I assume that they all probably find the spot to do their praying.
In your opinion, is this the most sacred site in all of Oklahoma to the Kiowa?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, there's all different tribes come out here and get that cedar. They park right up here where the road turns at the corner. I see all kind of tribal tags, and then I've seen like 10 or 12 out-of-state tags where they come.
As far as Alaska.
And wow. I don't know whether they're Kiowas that used to live here that's moved away and come back to visit family and come up and got them a bunch of cedar while they're here or not. But there's I don't know, probably 5-6 days a week there'll be cars up there getting cedar. And that's something that concerns me about this. If you breathe that dust for 50 years, what effect is that going to have on our kids or anybody's kids that's living around here?
When I was growing up, I wasn't brought up with the religious, and I guess about 18 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, my mother had gotten sick, and that was my first time ever seeing something happen through the ceremony. We thought she had a stroke, but she was diagnosed with Bell palsy, and everything they tried to do wasn't working. And so I had some aunts that talked to my father and my mother about having someone come in and pray with her to see if they could fix her problem. And of course, though my mother is, both my parents, very religious, and it took a lot of talking, but she didn't believe in it, but she went on ahead and agreed to do it. And so we had to come up with certain things for what they call the medicine man to use, to doctor her with. And we had to go through a full week of him coming every day that week to work with her. And of course you don't ask questions when they do that, you just let them do their doctoring. And as the week went by, we noticed that her face was beginning to look better. And on the fourth day after he got through and they came out, he said he had one more session with her. And so the last session that he had, when he came out, and he also used the Longhorn cedar to doctor her with, when he came out and told us that he was through and that she was going to be okay. And when she came out, her face was pretty much back to normal. And he showed us that what he got out of her face, they were 2 little pieces of glass that he said he had pulled out of her face that had caused her problems. And of course, though, when you have somebody to come in and do that, you have to give them gifts and things to thank them for doing that, and which my aunts were good about helping me with that. But after that, that kind of changed my perspective of the doctoring. And like I said, my mother was very religious, but I think that kind of changed her way of thinking also. And that's why I kind of respected more of the mountain and of, the cedar smoking. And a lot of the cedar smoking also they do is after a death of a person, that they'll go in and smoke the family and smoke the home, and that's to purify the household and the family. So they use a lot of the cedar in different ways.
So is your mother, did she have any more problems with the palsy after that?
No, she never had any problems after that.
So what are you gonna do if the rock crusher does go in?
Well, I've thought considerably about that. I guess the only thing I can do is learn to live with it, see how it's going to affect me. I don't even really know that it would, except for defacing the mountain. And I don't suppose I've got a whole lot of years left out here anyway, but this is where I'd like to spend them. So I'd probably just go on doing the best I can do. Hope I can have not made any permanent enemies. Hope I can still have a good relationship with all my neighbors like I always have had. That's about all I know to do. Make the best out of whatever happens. I don't know. All this started, I guess, 10 years ago when they filed a permit over at the courthouse. They're saying, well, nobody complained about it then, so they didn't think there was any complaint. Well, I think they kind of caught people off guard, which is our fault, and kind of snuck it by. One of the main questions they're asking, if nobody protested it then, why is everybody coming out of the woodwork now? And I think it's just a matter of people are really now grasping what the situation is. Mm-hmm. Neighbor over here on the north side, I think his wife did protest it when she saw it in the paper. And they told him that they sent them a letter in order to set up a meeting to meet with them about the deal. And he claims that he never got a letter. Said he didn't have a meeting with them, but he claims he never got a letter even about a meeting. But they've got it on record that she did protest it, and I guess she was the only one.
Are you talking about Pete Fisher's
Yes,
wife?
sir.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothers me is when I step out in my front yard, I look over there, I see windmills. I look over there, I see rock crushers. I'm gonna look up here, see another rock crusher. Where's it gonna stop? Before long, they're gonna tear all these mountains down doing something. Then maybe I guess we'll learn to live like they did back in the 1800s.
They say they need the rock crushers to keep the roads improved, but that may be true, but you drive down our roads and there's no improvement.
They've got 2 petitions going around for what petitions are worth. Not very much in my book, but they've got, I don't know, 1,800 signatures on both of them of people that's against it. And about the only ones you can find that's for it are the ones that's going to profit from it. So I think it's just a money deal.
We've been living here since I was in 7th grade. This is my family's home, which my husband and I now occupy. And I've been looking at that mountain quite a few years, and I'd hate to see it destroyed. Plus, its beauty, there's also a cave up there. Have you heard about the cave?
Oh yeah, I've heard there's pictographs and,
Jesse James was
stalactites
rumored
and
to have
stalagmites.
been held up there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, we don't want to lose that. Plus, if they do put this crusher in over here, we're going to have to relocate. So we'll lose our home.
From the dust to
Yeah.
the dynamite and
It'll just shake it apart.
yeah. And it'll run a lot of the land, the grass, the cattle won't eat the grass because of the lime on it. We've got a crusher just west of us, one just east of us. I don't think we need another crusher. That's the main thing, that it's going to destroy our home. And the neighbors, I don't know anybody that's for it in the community that I've heard. My main thing is I just don't want the dust and to breathe. I don't want it to destroy our home. The land for the because of the cattle, their teeth, they won't eat the grass. And truck traffic, our kids, grandkids, and everything here, a lot of stuff. This is our home. It's our homestead. And the beauty of the mountain.
Religious factor.
Well, that's for the Kiowas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the Indians.
Right.
Just a beautiful thing to lose.
Yeah. I mean, when I tell somebody where I live, I tell them by Longhorn Mountain. Now oh, where that crusher is,
By Stewart Stone rock crusher.
Yeah. That's not something I want to have to tell them.
Yeah.
Main thing, like I say, is the dust deal. I'm afraid it'll just destroy our property and the dynamite and it'll destroy the home and we just won't be able to live here. And I didn't really want to move. We like it here. That's why we're here.
Yeah. Plus, they say the evergreen, the Kiowa tribe, they send that evergreen all across the United States to different Indian tribes that need it for their rituals and cleansing and smoke rituals, whatever they do with it, but it's supposed to be sacred. And I guess you've probably heard the story of that, so I don't need to go into that, but I mean, there's just a lot of people that value this mountain for different reasons. And we really don't need another rock crusher here.
Well, like I say, the beauty of it, when we're coming home from town, you can see it all the way home. You know you're getting close to home. You know, it just tear it up. It looked pitiful. And then besides, like I say, it's destroying our house.
So because you live just north of it, most of the wind's going to come this way, I guess?
Yeah. More so south winds.
Yeah, it'll blow the lime right here on top of us. And it'll run the pasture. We have pens out here that my husband doctors sick cattle with and stuff, and they can't deal with that.
We wean our cattle out there.
Yeah.
And not necessarily doctor sick cattle, but we process our cattle out there, wean the calves, preg check the cows. I mean, we do all of our cattle work here at the home place, what we call the home place. And like I say, the grass, cattle won't eat it because of the lime on it. We know that firsthand for our neighbors to the west over here. And yeah, like I say, the main thing, we just don't need another crusher in this area.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for our neighbors over there that have had to put up with that for years. And that's what I don't understand, why the neighbor here leased it. I guess that's what happened when he knew that that could happen, actually. I don't know. I mean, I don't have no hard feelings against him really, but I just wished he'd been thinking more about it when he done it. I mean, he's a neighbor I thought was a friend.
He is a friend.
Yeah,
He is.
yeah, I mean, they're friends.
Yeah,
They are.
They are.
But, and he told us about it. He did tell us about it. You know, he was very upfront that he had leased it and everything. Yeah, he did.
I actually wrote a letter of protest back in 2005 or 6, whenever this first came about. And they do have my letter on file up there, but they said we didn't attend the hearing. And we were notified of a hearing according to them, although we don't remember anything about a hearing, so.
We know we never get.
Yeah, I don't
I think the
recall a
mining
hearing.
commission, they supposedly said they sent us one. We don't know if they ever sent us one. The wife is our mail carrier, so I don't think it got lost. Yeah, we protested it. Never heard another word about it. And they said they sent us a letter.
Well, they also said at first that there was no protest made, but there actually was. And when my husband called up there, they went back in the file and looked, and they found the letter.
They did find the letter. Yeah.
There was a protest.
And yeah, you'd have thought they would have notified us if they was going to go ahead and proceed with it.
I contacted Steve Quitone, and back in 2005 or 6, and he went to the board and told them, and they took it from there. And I think I was told that they got it stopped at that point, or they thought they had, and now it's come back up again. But yeah, I'm the one that contacted them first and told them about it, because I knew they got the evergreen off the mountain.
Well,
I knew it would mean a lot to them.
It was told us that it was going to come out in the Hobart paper if anybody wanted to protest it. So actually we did. And the owner was one that told us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one who leased it. He's the one
yeah,
that came to us and
told
told us what he had done, and he wanted us to know about it because he knew it would affect us.
Yeah, he told us. I mean, and
he was upfront and honest about that.
I appreciate him doing it.
Yeah. And we did do that, and like I said, I contacted one of the Kiowa tribal members and told him, and then he went to the board and told them, and they did what they could do. And we thought we had it stopped, and now it's came back up again, so here we are again.
I really wish the guy would come talk to us.
Who?
The guy.
Stewart?
Yeah.
I wish they
And tell us what he's really got in mind.
I wish that we could have another hearing. If they scheduled a hearing back then, and if they did and no one showed up, I'd like for them to do it. Let's do it now.
Well,
Let's have a hearing.
They give him a permit. So
Well, but I understand he's got to have a lot more permits than that one.
yeah, I don't know. That's like I say, I wish he would come and talk to us and tell us what exactly he's got in mind, what he's going to do, and really he needs to talk to the Kiowas. You know, we may be getting upset over nothing.
I mean, you know, every time the dust flows, we can, you know, call and report him, and they'll have to come down and shut him down and check it out and make sure he's got enough water per however many feet or whatever that he does. And, you know, they'll have to come investigate it. We can do that, but other than that, I don't really know what we can do.
Yeah.
Except relocate.
And we're not really wanting to relocate at all. We're going to be a little bit hard-headed about it.
A little difficult to get along with, probably. I would think with as many people, see there's petitions that have been signed, and I would think as many people that have signed those petitions, he would think twice about wanting to come down here, because it won't be, you know, it'll be kind of a hostile environment, I'm thinking. So I wouldn't know that he would want to be just real excited about being down here. Of course, that may not affect him at all, I don't know. I heard, I read in one of the Lawton papers that Mr. Stewart said that there was a demand for the gravel. Well, I don't really see that there is. He's, you know, because of the gas sites and this and that there's a demand for the gravel. Well, I think the ones that we have around here already are keeping up with that pretty well. So I don't really think that's an issue. I don't really think so.
I've heard they still got like 100 years over there.
Yeah, there's plenty there, and like I said, there's one down by Snyder. There's one over south of Carnegie, and there's a gravel pit just south of, on the other side of Longhorn off down there. I don't really see that we need another one.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like the one over here. They'd be running around the clock, and they have before. If there's that much of demand, I think they're running 2 shifts, so.
And keeping up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it would be a real loss.
Yeah.
You know, to this area if they do that. Longhorn has a history. It's not just a mountain. It's, you know, it's got a history. It's important to a lot of people.
They used to hang glide off of it.
Yeah, we used to have hang gliders that would come and hang glide off the mountain.
Yeah. I haven't in a few years,
No,
but used to, yeah. You've seen them a lot.
every weekend
Yeah.
you'd see them down there.
Are you afraid that it's also going to reduce the value of your land?
Oh, I'm sure it will. I
Yeah.
mean, who's going to want to
There's
buy
no
your
doubt
land?
it will.
Yeah.
Not that we would ever sell anyway, but that's my family's land, so I don't think we would ever sell. But yes, it'll definitely decrease the value. And it's not just us. We have neighbors to the north of us. You know, there's land over here to the west. It's all going to be affected. You know, it's not just us. If the winds, you know, if the wind's out of the north, it's going to affect the neighbors to the south of the mountain, which we have, you know, over that way as well. It's going to affect a lot of people around the mountain that live around the mountain, and it'll devalue their land just as much as it will ours. Plus, I think he's going to have a lot of trouble getting his trucks and stuff out of here anyway, because you can't travel Sedan Road, which runs right out here. You can't travel it with a loaded rock truck. You can't go west because the bridges are not equipped for a loaded rock truck. You can't go east because the bridges are not equipped for a loaded rock truck. So the only way he could possibly go is south, and if he's going to go south, he's going to have to put in a new bridge by himself, I've been told, on his dime. The county's not going to do that. So the only way he can go is south to Highway 19, and he'll have to fix that bridge down there. So that might be
Well,
one of the issues that's kind of holding him up. He's
And those
trying to-
trucks, a lot of times, they don't travel necessarily the roads they're supposed to. They're gonna tear up more of our county roads.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they come across from the west every once in a while, and they're not supposed to. And I turn them in when I see them a lot of times.
If they do put a rock crusher up there, when they do start grinding up the rock, it's going to filter on top of everything. Everything will be white. Everything. Your grass, your trees, your home, your cars, everything that's outside will be just covered in the white dust. And it's not a very pretty sight. And plus the mining companies, what I understand, they don't pay any county taxes, so the county will not benefit from having a rock crusher here at all. It's not going to help us at all.
It'll cost us money for the roads.
Yeah, actually, to maintain the roads for them to drive on, it'll cost us money, and they never pay any money back to the county, so it's just going to be a drain on our county, and our county's kind of poor anyway, so we don't really need it.
And we got a friend that actually used to live by one of the other crushers, and he told me definitely straight up, you don't want a crusher by your house. They just flat run through us.
I became heir to the original allotment when my mom and dad passed away, and so we've occupied this spot, just calculated out, over 100 years. I know the Kiowa people recognize Longhorn Mountain as the spot for the religious cedar, and it's usually tagged as Longhorn Mountain cedar because the word describes it. That's enough. And all the cedar that's on the mountain as we see it today did not exist 50 years ago. And the cedars down on the base of the mountain are not what the true cedar, but it's more of a juniper. And the readings of history from the tribe and from participation from families and stories told, it was not uncommon for a family member to go on a mountain and stay there overnight and pray, and it was just a way of a cleansing, a religious cleansing. And so anyway, to my knowledge, I do not believe that there are other mountains in the area that has the same respected type of cedar for religious purposes. I'm not aware of it. There may be some down closer to Lawton, but I don't know that for a fact. And but we know for sure that this one has been known for many years for that purpose. And in just above where we stand, this allotment that I spoke about is commonly referred to as a cave. It's a geological formation in limestone, and in the early days, it would have been my dad and his brothers, and basically they were the ones left on the farm to make it all work. One of the stories told by grandmother and grandfather was the boys ran a rabbit in a hole on the mountain, and it was common to take barbed wire and twist it and try to get the rabbit out of the hole. Well, unbeknownst to them, what they had found was the Longhorn Mountain Cave, and still exists today. It's a very small opening. Normally there's minimal animal life in there, and basically there's some down deep, there are some stalactites and stalagmites and normal, and I think it's referred to as calcite. But in the early day they thought, about the time every time you turn around, people were thinking about gold. There's gold in those hills or whatever. But anyway, in a very brief attempt for one miner to try to find gold on Longhorn, I think he found iron pyrite, and it's commonly known as fool's gold. So that didn't last too long, because it was unproductive and expensive, and is up on the side of the mountain, and it's located on the feral property. And so between all the rattlesnakes and the eagles and the buzzards and all the other plant and animal life, and we do have deer and some elk, that's the nature of the territory we're actually standing in. And of course, my occupying at least some lands in this area, I have a herd of cattle, and they graze off the mountain for the most part. Occasionally they will travel over the mountain on the other side. So our family does have this allotment, and we respect it. We've grown up here, and we also respect the thoughts about the Kiowa individuals and their religious needs. And so, you know, that's kind of where we are today. And but also we just simply ask the members to respect the fact that it's private property, and has been since about the same time they received their allotments. And so that sets us into basically modern day in 2013. And I guess this is August 23rd. You know, I heard another comment by someone said that, well, someone was selling a bundle of cedar out in Taos, New Mexico. And to me, that defeats the purpose of what it's all about. You know, it's not a commercialized, it's something that should be respected in the religion. And I suppose if people gathered it to that degree and sold it to other tribes, for instance, the Kiowa tribe and the Taos have some commonality in their language. And so it's just natural for them to associate. It's only natural that it might get out there, you know. So I don't know the exact truth about that, but I just had heard that. And at any rate, our family we don't intend to sell or lease the property. We're here for the duration. And whereas somebody else might sell their property or lease it or something like that, we don't feel anything like that would happen with us. And so our grandfather, you know, we respect the fact that he drew the allotment, and we've lived on it and worked on it, and the family grew up here. All of us worked and went to school and had to go out and raise our families elsewhere. And I just be the person that was the luckiest in being heir to this tract. And there are some of the other family members. I have a nephew and a niece that have part of the property, and so I think they kind of feel the same way. We've discussed it, and and as far as we're concerned, we want it left as is. We're not interested in crushing any limestone or anything like that. We respect it as is. As I came today from our county seat town of Hobart, Oklahoma, I came by the rock crushing material over here to the west. It was on Mount UNEP, and that mountain is basically ground away in road materials by the current owner is DeLisi. And you know, of course I remember that mountain before they started crushing it, and it's kind of a shame that it's gone. And yet modern day, you know, we expect to have nice roads to travel over, and it's contributed to that. So we met several trucks today as we were, you know, coming over this direction. So that's the nature of how things change, and I'm not saying it's for the better, but thus far we prefer the mountain to stay as is. I've heard some stories about the eagles soaring over the cave on Longhorn. Who am I to question whether they did or they didn't? It's part of folklore, and it's told and passed down, passed down, passed down. But I doubt seriously if we factually knew when exactly that cave was discovered, that when it was free range and people rode, that they knew anything about the cave. Because I know the kind of the layers of the mountain and the rocks, and and they could have easily moved one rock and uncovered it. So, and we're talking about an opening that's 18 inches by 30 inches perhaps. And so, you know, like I say, the eagle, just the normal, you know, state bird you see, scissortail, all those things are quite common out here. And so it just reminds us every once in a while we need to stop and appreciate the beauty along the way. And it doesn't take very long just to stop and look around and you see what God's creation, what it's all about.
So how would you feel if Longhorn Mountain was mined and defaced?
Well, it would be disappointing simply because, you know, when you take something away from a part away from the whole, it diminishes what it is. And yet, on the other hand, I respect a landowner that, you know, might have an intention of, because it becomes a livelihood. It's part of a livelihood. You look at the bigger picture, you know, the roads we drive on, that's where the crushed limestone came from, or gravel, whatever it might be. As far as someone breathing in, if I lived close where there's trucks and rolling, what have you, you betcha I wouldn't like it at all. Because all day and all night you'd be breathing that, maybe that dust. And I can respect someone that would oppose that for that reason. Because in the 30s, that dust for the people, you know, they had dust pneumonia and everything else. And, you know, they wore masks and trying to protect themselves. But there's no question about it. There's some dust related to a crushing operation. And I presume they take all the precautions by, you know, wetting it and so forth. But the trucks up and down the road, that's just the nature.
I don't think they've got enough money that I'd lease for a rock crusher. With me living here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling now.
And that's why I see, huh?
We're rolling now, so you want to say that again?
No. Erase that. Ask me some questions and I'll answer them.